I just paid $650 for a transmission flush that should have cost $150. The mechanic showed me a jar of dirty fluid that looked terrifying, until I realized it wasn't even from my car. This exact scam happens to over 60% of car owners, and today I'm exposing the 12 most expensive tricks mechanics use to empty your wallet. I spent 3 months interviewing former mechanics who confessed to using these tactics daily. By the end of this video, you'll never fall for these scams again. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Have you ever felt your stomach drop when a mechanic tells you your car might not make it home safely? That moment of panic is exactly what they're counting on. This isn't just poor customer service. It's a calculated psychological tactic straight out of the high-pressure sales playbook. What most drivers don't realize is that mechanics are often trained in specific psychological manipulation techniques. These tactics aren't random. They're deliberately designed to bypass your rational thinking process and tap directly into your fear response. When that happens, your brain shifts from careful decision making to survival mode, making you significantly more likely to approve whatever repair is suggested. Your brakes could fail any second, or it's too dangerous to drive out of here. Sound familiar? These aren't casual observations. They're carefully crafted trigger phrases designed to activate your fear response. The moment you hear words like catastrophic failure, your ability to think clearly diminishes, and your wallet becomes much easier to access. What's particularly troubling is how often these tactics target vehicle systems you know are critical but may not fully understand. When a mechanic dramatically explains that your steering could lock up on the highway or your brakes might suddenly stop working, they're exploiting the perfect combination of technical ignorance and safety concern. They know you won't risk your family's safety even if you suspect you're being upsold. The drama is another red flag you should watch for. If a mechanic is adding theatrical flair while explaining what's wrong with your car, wide eyes, sharp intake of breath, or shaking their head in concern, they're likely trying to manipulate your emotions. This performance isn't about educating you, it's about scaring you into submission. One particularly devious tactic involves keeping your car up on the lift while delivering the bad news. This physical positioning is no accident. It creates a sense that you're stuck, both literally and figuratively. With your car visibly disabled and inaccessible, you feel powerless and more likely to agree to whatever repairs are suggested. After all, how else will you get home? The vague technical jargon is another tool in their arsenal. When mechanics use confusing terminology without clear explanations, they're often intentionally trying to intimidate you. The more confused you feel, the less likely you are to ask questions or challenge their recommendations. This information asymmetry creates the perfect environment for exploitation. Pay special attention when mechanics push for immediate decisions. The today only discount or the urgent safety warning is designed to prevent you from seeking a second opinion. A legitimate repair shop will never pressure you this way. They'll provide clear information, answer your questions, and respect your decision-making process. If you feel rushed, that's your cue to slow down and think more carefully. Be particularly wary of undefined timelines and costs. A mechanic who doesn't provide an estimated completion time or clear pricing is often setting the stage for an unpleasant surprise. Vague statements like, "We'll call you when it's done," or "We'll figure out the final price after we get in there," should immediately raise your suspicion level. The most common targets for these fear-based tactics are brake systems, tires, timing belts, and steering components. These aren't random. They're specifically chosen because they represent areas where customers typically have minimal technical knowledge but maximum safety concerns. When a mechanic says your rear tire needs immediate replacement due to low pressure, they're counting on you not questioning whether that's actually an emergency situation. So what can you do to protect yourself? First, always ask to see the damaged part in person. A legitimate issue should be visible and explainable in clear terms. Second, ask specifically what will happen if you wait on the repair. Push for details beyond vague warnings. Third, get everything in writing so you can take that estimate elsewhere for comparison. Remember that a free inspection that always finds problems deserves your skepticism. This is often the first step in a practiced sales funnel designed to identify vulnerable customers who can be scared into unnecessary repairs. Getting a second opinion isn't just about saving money, it's about verifying whether there's actually a problem at all. While second opinions can protect you from unnecessary repairs, they're useless against the industry's most profitable scam. What if that $300 transmission flush you just paid for never actually happened? Former mechanics reveal the shocking truth. Many shops charge hundreds for services they never perform, using clever tricks to make you believe the work was done. Let's pull back the curtain on these phantom services, the repairs you pay for but never receive. Fluid flushes and system cleanings rank among repair shops' highest profit margins, not because they're complex procedures, but because they're virtually impossible for the average customer to verify. When a mechanic claims they've flushed your transmission or cleaned your fuel system, how would you know if they actually did it? These invisible services create the perfect opportunity for dishonest shops to pad their profits. Transmission flushes, coolant system cleanings, power steering flushes, and fuel injector services typically cost between $100 and $300, yet leave behind no visible evidence once completed. A mechanic can charge you $200 for a transmission flush, but simply add a $10 bottle of fluid and pocket the difference. And you'd have no way to tell. The deception runs even deeper. Many shops maintain what industry insiders call a community jar, a container of deliberately contaminated fluid they keep specifically to show customers. When you bring your car in for routine maintenance, they'll pull out this jar of pitch black fluid and claim, "This is what we found in your transmission." The viscous, particle-filled sludge creates immediate alarm, convincing you to approve an expensive flush service you likely don't need. Meanwhile, your actual fluid might be perfectly fine. But the scam extends far beyond fluids. Dishonest mechanics frequently charge for replacing filters, spark plugs, and sensors without ever touching them. They count on the fact that most customers won't pop the hood to verify the work. You might pay $80 for an air filter replacement only to drive away with the same dirty filter still installed. Some technicians even charge full price for parts they never installed, knowing you'll be none the wiser. These phantom services aren't just an assault on your wallet, they create genuine safety concerns. When you believe a critical system has been properly serviced when it hasn't, you'll ignore warning signs of actual problems. You might dismiss that strange transmission noise because you assume the system was recently flushed, when in reality, it's about to fail catastrophically. The financial impact is staggering. Mechanics might double or even triple the actual price of parts, claiming they're dealer only or hard to source when identical components are readily available online for a fraction of the cost. Some shops charge premium rates for brand new parts while actually installing used or inferior components. Without verification methods, customers remain vulnerable to these tactics. Perhaps most telling is how mechanics handle your old parts. When a shop refuses to show or return the components they've supposedly replaced, consider it a major red flag. A common excuse is, "We already threw it away," or "It was too damaged to keep." In reality, they may have nothing to show because the part was never replaced at all. Some mechanics even charge for a new part but leave the old one in place, banking on your technical ignorance. What if there was a foolproof way to ensure you never fall victim to these scams? The good news is that simple verification techniques exist to protect yourself. Always request to see your fluid before and after any flush service. Genuine transmission fluid should have a distinct color and transparency that's difficult to fake. For parts replacements, insist on keeping your old components. If a mechanic balks at this request, consider taking your business elsewhere. Here's a clever trick former mechanics recommend. Before dropping off your vehicle, mark components like filters or spark plugs with a small, unnoticeable dot of nail polish. When you pick up your car, check if the mark is still there. If it is, you've caught them red-handed, charging for work they never performed. This simple verification method forces honesty from even the most unscrupulous shops. So here's the bottom line. Your car's health and your wallet depend on what happens before you sign that repair order, not after. The best defense, verification. Ask for those old parts they claim to replace. If they make excuses or refuse, that's your first red flag. Try marking your parts with a small dot of nail polish before service to catch part swapping. Always get detailed written estimates before authorizing any work, and never let yourself be rushed into decisions. Remember this, a legitimate mechanic appreciates your questions and involvement. They'll welcome your caution because they have nothing to hide. It's only the scammers who get nervous when you start asking questions.